Hi, my name's Simon Green. I'm here at Luminary Photography CIC in the East End of Sunderland. Today's video is going to be about photogrammetry and using the Kiri Engine app on phone and on a desktop. So photogrammetry is a way to extract information from 3D objects, usually through photography, but it could be through other ways as well. It's been around for a very long time before the invention of cameras, using scale drawings and things like that. So photogrammetry now has been revolutionised with digital photography and smartphones, and the ability to build 3D models that have got accurate scale and proportions. So this is particularly useful for history societies, archaeologists and archaeology groups, for being able to take a three-dimensional image of something on the ground. Now that could be a physical object, it could be a space like inside a building, it could be the building itself. We can use things like smartphones, we can use digital cameras, and we can use drones for much bigger objects, again like buildings or things like that. The process is actually really simple. That application itself, whether it's on a phone or on the desktop, is very simple. You will need to sign up for an account. There's on Kiri Engine, there's a free account that does have some restrictions to it, but on the whole, it's probably okay for most people. And then they have a pro account that you can check out in the pricing section there. Again, if you're doing a lot of these, if you're doing a lot of kind of 3D modeling and things like that, it's not massively expensive, and that just gives you some extra things like higher resolution images and 3D models and things like that. So I'm going to start at the top here. So we've got start creating. You can see down here we've got a kind of a menu. There's very little in it. Upgrade to pro, and then a kind of a profile. We've got start creating here, so we've got a photo scan, so that's just a basic scan to upload video or to upload photographs to create your 3D model. We've got a featureless object scan, which is a pro feature which you need to pay for. This basically is for creating models of things that are made out of glass or shiny objects, or objects that are transparent and things like that. And then we've got 3D scan, which is Gaussian splat, which is a different way of doing scans. It's supposed to be more efficient, and again, this is a pro kind of a pro tool that you get if you pay for a subscription. So this, I'm just going to use the basic subscription in this. It's actually really good and will do most of what most people want. If you're exporting lots of models, that's really where you need to upgrade. So if you're doing hundreds of these, if you're doing a big project and you're documenting lots of different objects on location, then it'd be worth subscribing to be able to export more models. With the pro subscription as well, you get higher resolution 3D models, so they're done in 8K instead of 4K, and there's you can upload more images per model and things like that as well. So I'm going to just click on photo scan here. Okay, so that takes you to this screen. Upload your photo or video to generate your model. You can see here it tells you the specifics of what you can do, so it tells you the file formats, and it tells you how many images, so 20 to 150 photos for the basic, 20 to 500 for pro. Obviously that gives you more detail in your models. For the video upload, the video limits a minute, and even in the pro mode it's only 3 minutes, but you've got to remember that's probably enough, because all you're doing is rotating around the object that you want to turn into the model. And then basically you would click, you can click to take you to an upload dialog, or you can just drag images into here. So if I was to grab a load of images, and then you can kind of keep adding images to that. You can see on the right hand side here that it asks you for a name for your model. Auto object masking, so this is if you've had it on a turntable or something like that, and it helps to remove the background, so it's good to have that set on there. Train AI, that's entirely up to you. Visibility, this is whether they use your model on the website. File format, so this file format's fine. It depends if you're maybe uploading it to another program after this, or a specific way, you know, you're using a specific thing to show this on a website or something like that. It may require a specific file format, and it pretty much does most of them. You may find that there's some programs that use different models to this, different file formats to this, but there's converters online, so if you don't see the file format that you need here, you can always just export it as one of these and then go to an online generator and it'll convert it for you. Poly counts, so this is how many polygons are used to create the 3D model. Again, you can see the Ultra there is the professional subscription. So obviously we want that on high for most things. And texture, you can see again with the Pro you get an 8K, and this again is just about giving more information for the creation of the model. And then you just click on Create 3D Model now. So I'm just going to add in all these images, and I've got duplicates in here, but that doesn't matter. It'll know what's relevant and what's not. And then just going to click on Create 3D Model. It's uploading the photos, and you just need to wait till that's gone through that process. And there you go, and that's uploaded it. So now when we go back to the front page, you can see there's now queuing. So the way that this works is it uploads the images or the video to a server somewhere, and that works in the background and produces the 3D model. They have massive server warehouses that do this stuff. Depends how busy it is. If it's on, say, a Saturday, it can take quite a long time. During the week, though, I find that it's really, really quick, and it maybe takes 10 minutes or something like that to create the object. Again, you know, if you've got lots of these that you want to do, you can just upload them and have them queued one after the other, and then they'll just start to kind of like come into here completed as they're done. You also get a message, an email message telling you that it's done, or a notification if you're doing this on the app on your phone. Okay, so I'm going to digitize with the mobile phone and with the Kiri Engine app this monument to Jack Crawford here. And so basically what we're after doing is just walking around, taking continuous photographs all the way around. They need to have around about 70% overlap, and we'll just take photographs at the low end, in the middle, and then as high as we can get, so we can potentially get a bit of the top. We might miss a bit of the top here. You could take a selfie stick and use a selfie stick to do that. So we're in the Kiri Engine app here. You can see you should have something like this with different models going through, and below you'll have something like this, and then at the bottom you've got the plus. So if you just press on the plus, that'll take you to the next page, and you'll see here you've got photo scan, exactly the same as the desktop app. You've got the other things in there as well. If we click on photo scan, you'll see it takes us to take photos and video, or upload from local. So if you'd previously taken the images and maybe you couldn't get a signal or something like that, you can come back to it and upload the images. I'm just going to press on take photos and video, and you can see it's now brought this up. We've got auto, manual and timer. So I'm just going to leave it on manual. We've got it on photo. You can do video through this as well. And then I'm just going to start taking the photographs. And so I'm basically just walking and just keep pressing the button. I've not done anything fancy with the camera. I've just left all the default settings on. The light's quite nice here, so there's no real deep shadows or anything like that. So I've done one set of shots at the bottom there. I'm going to do a second set of shots. just around the middle. And then my last set of shots, I don't think I'm going to get the top of it, but I'm doing it nice and high up there. Okay, and then what we can do is just to get some extra detail of some of the kind of some of the texture areas, like the text on here. I'm just going to go in a bit closer and get some shots with that extra detail in. So where we've got like the shape of the flag there, I'm just going to get some closer shots of that, and it'll just add that into the images. That's it. So we've got 97 photographs that we've taken there. Okay, and then so what I'm going to do, instead of exporting these, because we're out on location, and if we lose the signal halfway through uploading, it'll fail the upload, so I'm just going to save these to local. Okay, and then so after we've done that, and we submit the photographs, it brings up this page, so we can just put a name in there. We've got auto object masking, which helps to remove the background. Polygon counts exactly the same as on the desktop. 4K, obviously highest resolution. Our object format, untick that. And then exactly the same as on the desktop application, we just press upload and that will upload the images for us. So we're back in the office and back in Kiri Engine, and this is our rendered 3D model. I'm just going to click into there. So this is a 3D model. You can see it's not quite straight, and it's a bit dark on the front here, and at the top it's a little bit odd, and we've got a hole here. As I said earlier, you could use a selfie stick to get your camera or your phone higher so that you can get the top part as well. On the whole though, it's really well detailed. So if we zoom into the text there, you can see the text really clearly. You can see the texture on the stone really quite nicely as well. So we have a few options to edit the image on the left here. So I'm going to go to rotate first so we can straighten up our model. And you'll see that you've got these 3 circles that show you the direction that the rotations move in. So to start with, I'm just going to move the red, and you can just come in and just type in if you want. That's about straight. And then I'm going to rotate it on its axis so it fits into this box a little bit better. And then I'm just going to move that to straighten out. And now you can see it's much straighter. And then I'm just going to click on done. These 2 buttons here are just to undo and to redo if you make an error. I'm just going to click on done there, and now when we rotate it, it stays straight properly. Now I'm going to go into crop, and so crop allows you to kind of cut out some of the extra details that are around it. So for this I want to get rid of a bit of the grass at the bottom there, and so you can basically click on one of these sides and just push it in. If I rotate, you get a better view of what's been taken out of it, so I can get quite close to that. And then I'm going to click on the side, do the same with the side there, just move all the way around and just trim that a bit. And I'm literally just clicking on the panel and just moving it, just pushing it in, and you can see we've got this nice tight model now with just the actual stone in. I can see some of it's disappearing around the side here, so I might just bring it out a little bit more, just to make sure we do get actually all of the stone in there. Okay. And click on done. You can also flip it as well to crop the top and the bottom if you want to, but I'm going to leave it at that. And then I'm going to go texture. So this is kind of your brightness and your contrast and your basic overall color corrections and things like that. So you do have an auto correct here. It does an okay job. I don't think that's the best it could do. So what I'm going to do myself, so you see that threshold is kind of the level of the darkness and light in there. So that basically increases or reduces the contrast. You can see what it's doing there. I'm just going to increase the brightness. I'm just going to have a look at the bright area. You can see there it's far too bright. It's losing all of that detail in the back there. So I'm just going to reduce that down a little bit. Gamma, again, this is to do with contrast. Temperature, so that's how warm or cool it is. So I'm just going to warm it up a little bit, add a little bit of yellow in there, add a bit of saturation so our colours are a little bit better. Just going to tweak that a bit more. Sharpness, it just crispens up the image a bit. As simple as that, it'll just make the text a bit easier to read. So it's a basic set of adjustments, but it certainly does just to get you where you need to be. If you want to do further adjustments, Sketchfab, which is another website for hosting and 3D models, has a much more in-depth set of editing tools, and it's worth having a look at that as well. I'm just going to click on done, and then if you click on shading here, so shading just takes off the textures and the colors and just shows you the model by itself without any of that in. So if we have a rotate around that, you can see how detailed it is and kind of how well captured it is. And then I'm just going to click on to finish. And you can see it says fill holes. This may or may not work. It depends on what the model's like. And I'm going to click on generate a new model. And you'll see that in the dashboard, this will come up as being edited there. And this should just take a few minutes to do. So our edited model is now being rendered, and it's been placed in the dashboard alongside the original test project. So if I go over the three dots here, you can see there's some options. We've got share, edit, export, embed, and delete. So I'm going to click on the share first, and you'll see this will bring this this window up here, and it just has a copy share link. So if we click on that, that will copy the link, and we can just email that to somebody or send that to somebody. If we go back to the menu and we come down, edit just takes us back into the editing options. If we click on export, this will give us a file. You see here when we go into the next window that it has some options, but these are all pro options. So if you click on that, it'll ask you to upgrade. But if we click on download, you'll see it'll give us a download there, and it's a zip file. If I double click on that zip file, you'll see inside the folder that it creates that we've got these three files, and the .obj file there. That's the one that you can upload to other platforms that you can then, if you need a different file format, there's plenty of converters online. Just do a search for 3D model converter and you better change it to a different format. So I'm going to go into the menu again. I'm going to click on embed. I'm just going to turn it around slightly. So Embed allows us to create a piece of code that we can paste into a website or something like Facebook and show our 3D model in that platform. So I'm going to start with the window size. I'm going to click on fixed. So just leave it at the standard. I'm going to leave it at the standard width and height. We can use adaptive. Adaptive means that it should resize to fit the window on your website. However, it doesn't always work with every type of website, so you need to try that out. Background color, we can have bright or dark, or we can have transparent, which means it'll use the color of the background on your website. Set current position as initial will mean that it'll use this position to start with. Turntable animation will start rotating our model. Spin around the 3D model center, so it'll stay there rather than rotating around the outside. I'm going to remove the little logo there, and then I'm going to copy the iframe code. So I'm just going to jump into my website. So I've created a new page in WordPress, and it'll be very similar if you're using a different platform. I'm going to click plus to create a new block. And if you type in custom, I mean, it's already at the top there anyway, you can click on custom HTML, and I'm just going to paste that code into there. And when I click on preview, you'll see that model is now in my website. You can zoom, and you've got the same controls as you have to move everything around, and then it should just start back up moving when you let it go. Okay, so that's one way to embed your models directly from Kiri Engine. You might find that you don't quite like the way that it displays it on your website or something like that, so we can use something like Sketchfab. So we've got Sketchfab here. You can see I've uploaded my model. So Sketchfab gives you a different way to embed your models into websites and things. But the other thing about it is so you can edit the properties, which is things like the name and the description and things like that. If we click on Edit 3D Settings, you'll see that there's a whole load of options for changing everything about your 3D model. So you can see we can change the color of the background. We can change pretty much everything to do with the textures and everything else. We can add a background in if we want. We can change the brightness and the color to a huge degree. We can bring in different materials and textures rather than the ones that are already in here. And we can edit the image in absolutely huge depth. You can see each one of these items can be switched on and off. I'm not going to go into this any further. It's just for interest really, but if you're looking to just take your models up to the next stage, Sketchfab's a really good place to start. I'm going to come out of here now, and okay, and so if we want to embed from Sketchfab, you'll see it'll give you a window that looks a bit like this with all of these options as well. Again, we just go to embed at the bottom there. You can see there's a lot more settings that we can use. The same with Kiri Engine. There's some restrictions if you have the basic account, but otherwise it allows you to do an awful lot. And it's exactly the same. So we would just copy this code here. So I'm just going to switch that on to fixed. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, and if we go in here, I'm just going to create another custom HTML block. I'm going to paste that into there, and if we preview that, you can see how that is different. It's a different approach to it's more of a kind of an app built within WordPress rather than just the window like this. So there's a couple of different options there for you for embedding your model into a website. Okay, so that's been an introduction to photogrammetry and 3D modeling. I hope that's been helpful. Please like and subscribe and watch some of our other videos. Thank you very much.